senior looking back on the past couple of years, I can say with certainty that my junior year was one of the most difficult times of my life. My energy was gradually depleting. I would show up to classes and sports practices that I struggled to succeed in, drag myself to complete extracurriculars, all while trying to maintain my relationships. Oftentimes, it felt as if I couldn't even breathe, making me constantly miserable. I had no idea how to get this feeling under control. I barely had time for other people, let alone myself. This past summer, being the last real summer I had before college, granted me a lot of time to reflect. And as I was reflecting, I was making art. I began to notice things within creating art that I had never noticed before. Things like the vibrant colors from sunsets, intrinsic detail from plants in my backyard, and even little things like the unique perspectives that I gained from hanging out with my friends began to frequent my brain in a way that they never had before. And it was then that I realized that drawing was more than just creating pretty things. It was a frame of mind. It made me appreciative of the world around me. And it wasn't until then that I realized the extent to which creating art brought me peace and happiness. We all know the feeling of being overworked and exhausted. Oftentimes, we're doing a million different things while getting the satisfaction of none. Being a victim of this, I've come to understand that a lot of our troubles often revolve around having busy schedules, but they also contain one common factor, which is the voice in our head that tells us that change is impossible. So how do we create for ourselves a happier, healthier lifestyle? It can be done through the artistic lens. Our minds can escape from being trapped in the whirlwind of modern society through the practice of art, which grants us peace and happiness. I've been creating art for as long as I can remember. Recently, my pieces have begun to revolve around my own personal reflections and experiences. And so now, before I even begin to create a piece, I start by asking myself three main questions. What is the intention? What is the perspective? And what are the main values? Let's start at the beginning, using this charcoal drawing that I did of myself last semester. The intention refers to the reasoning that I have behind doing something. Essentially, I'm asking myself, what do I want to achieve? What am I trying to convey? And so, within this piece, I wanted to show the positive relationship that I have with cooking, since it sparks such good memories that I have with my family. I wanted to show some sort of element of symbolism so that the viewers would know that in my eyes, food equals good. Next, what is the perspective? I wanted to not only capture myself in the image, but the sunlight as well. I chose specifically for the sunlight to be in the image because it emphasizes beauty and prosperity. It contributes to the overall intention of having a peaceful and happy drawing. But if I were to take out the sunlight, then the meaning might become lost, because without it, I can't necessarily articulate goodness, and you would just see a girl in the kitchen. The last question, what are the values? In masterclass.com, it says that value is one of the main elements of art that dictates how light or dark a color appears. So colors that are closer to white on the scale appear lighter, and the same with colors that are closer to black, they appear darker. So within the image, we can see that the sun is the most extreme object. I'd like to ask you all to close your eyes right now. When you open them, I'm going to ask you to tell me what the first thing you saw in the image was. Okay, open your eyes. How many of you first looked at the light? Okay, that's a good number of you. So our eyes are drawn to the light because it's the most vibrant, extreme value within the image, and it's highlighted by the darkness that surrounds it. The same would be reversed if the darkness was the most prominent, but then again, that's not what I chose to do. So if we consider the questions that I just proposed and apply them to our own lives, we can see that there's a clear, conscious way of shifting our headspace to become more mindful and have a better attitude. So in the context of our daily lives, let's look at the questions again. What is intention? When setting your intentions, you want to think about what your goals are for the day. Obviously, a lot of us can get wrapped up in mindlessly working, losing track of the time, but it's important to take into account what we want to get done and to set goals that are both important for us and that bring us satisfaction. Because remember, only you can choose what is important and what falls into the background. Only you can set positive goals for yourself. And I know that sometimes we can feel like we don't have a choice. We have a lot of schoolwork to do, events to go to, deadlines to meet, places to be. It could end up feeling like a lot, and like we don't really have a lot of control over what we choose to do or how we choose to handle it. When we're actually faced with these challenges, it's not necessarily how we feel, however, it's more of how we handle it. And so you can ask yourself, how do I want to view the big picture? Are the little things really that negative, and are they really that important? Or are they just the only thing that I'm looking at? For example, let's say you had a bad presentation at school, but that doesn't change the fact that you got a good grade on your paper, that you had a really good club meeting, and that you had a great time hanging out with your friends after school. So today's going to be a win because you chose for it to be. There is always the opportunity to shift the perspective. Value, as we can see, is similar to perspective and intention, yet it's how we view the negative and how we use it to boost the positive. As we described earlier, value is the quality of a color being lighter or darker. So darkness is inevitable. We can't avoid it. But what's so great is that we can learn to use it to benefit us in a way that we had never thought of before. Obviously, you don't want all the darkness in your life, but understanding how it can make the lighter values in your life more prominent is a really key skill to learn. In using this point of view, there are many benefits. It can completely shift your thinking to become more self-aware so that you can look for things that make you happy, which in turn, and most interestingly of all, makes you more creative. The Department of Special Education and Counseling at the Education University of Hong Kong stated that affect, as they described as general mood and emotion, they intended to look and see how general mood and emotion affected the students and their positivity levels. And so the discovery was that a positive affect correlated to more creativity and therefore becoming more innovative. Now, I know that it sounds like I'm stating the obvious, but the fact of the matter is that this topic isn't as prioritized as it should be. Without fostering the sense of positivity, the likelihood of a person being creative greatly decreases. It can lead to having weak problem-solving skills, frustration, and limited solutions to unconventional problems. Think of some of the most influential people that have been in our world. People like Marie Curie, Steve Jobs, Walt Disney. These people created the world that we're living in, the world that is alive and thriving. In using the artistic lens, we can cultivate growth and prosperity. So how can we apply the artistic lens back to our questions? And for intention, we can use words of affirmation, words that encapsulate a feeling. They can create a beneficial, organized, and more confident mood for ourselves. The frequency of color in an art piece can create unity. And the same can happen for our own daily lives with the repetition of affirmations. They can create harmony and build a happier mood. Next, we can consider our perspective in a certain situation by asking ourselves how we can reframe the challenge that we're facing. We can stop putting predetermined beliefs and just be open. Without jumping to conclusions, we can build a deeper understanding of the world around us. There's a lot of variation that goes into art. And the same happens with our own lives. There are so many variations in paths and decisions that we make on a daily basis. Nothing ever goes according to plan, and so you might as well embrace it. Being open and adaptable can allow you to try new things and learn things that you never did before. Finally, in terms of incorporating the values into your life, think about the good things. Think about the bad things that are unchangeable. And think about how the bad things can highlight the good things. Appreciate what you have and consider how you got there. Making a list or finding time to reflect can be a great way to incorporate this mindset into your daily life. If we implemented the artist lens, our world would become rapidly one of the most advanced and forward-thinking that it's ever been. We would have new technology, accessing creativity that grants us endless possibilities. Some of the things that we never even would have thought of or seen before. I mean, just think about it. We could have actual time travel. We could have like a real-life Iron Man. The rates of depression and stress would go down, and we, as a society, and future generations would have a healthier, more positive outlook on our lives. I'd like to reiterate that the artistic lens is not limited to just artists, but a skill that anyone can learn with time and practice. We're still going to have bad days. We're still going to get frustrated. But it's in our capacity to recognize how good things that we have in our own lives can help us endure, if not overcome, these challenges. In teaching you the lenses, instead of trying to invalidate how we feel, I'm trying to teach you how to use the energy that it holds to mold us into something better. Feel what you feel and express it. And in doing so, let it create understanding. Let it create for yourself flexibility, awareness, and a love for what is in front of you. And before you know it, you'll have your very own masterpiece. Thank you.